Mate, just firstly, the idea's been thrown around about hubs that the players and teams might have to go potentially down to Victoria to get the season restarted. What's your thought on that? Are you happy to go into sort of isolation and move away from people up here?
Yeah, I think all options should be on the table, and hubs being one of them. I think we're all keen to get the games back going and the industry back and running. So I think all ideas should be on the table, and we'd definitely be keen for AFL Hubs, whether it's in Victoria or New South Wales. I think it's an idea that should be explored, and I think the AFL are doing a good idea with coming up with strategies to get everything back and running.
Cal, have you been, as a player, briefed on whether or not, if a hub is in Sydney, whether or not you'd be allowed to stay at home or whether or not you'd have to move into a certain location?
No, we haven't been briefed at all at the moment. I think it's just been an idea that the AFL are strategising at the moment, and I think they'll get back to the players. We've got a meeting with the AFLPA next week. So hopefully we'll have more information next week and we can move from there, because at the moment we're not too sure. It's just an idea.
Callum, you've been moved into the leadership group now. How have you sort of taken on that role at the moment and sort of helping the team and your teammates get through this time?
Yeah, it's obviously a really different time. And I think the best thing that the leadership group can do is stay connected with the playing group, and it's staying connected with the right amount of information that gets sent out to other players. We don't want to bombard them, but we also want to make sure that everyone's well physically and mentally, because it's a very different time. We've got people like first year players like Chad Warner and over in WA that have come over and settled in Sydney, and then 4 months later had to head back home. So just making sure everyone's mentally well and physically well and keeping connected. That's our main priority at the moment.
Callum, Adrian Warren from Australian Associated Press here. You talk about staying connected. Can you tell us some of the ways you're being able to do that, and also like some of the genuine characters of the group emerged to kind of keep spirits up during this difficult time?
Yeah, so we have a meeting once a week on Zoom, and we have one with our lines. We do we do fitness sessions via Zoom, which is a bit funny, but it keeps everyone interacted, and it helps when there's someone else doing it at the same time with you. So there's many ways. The WhatsApp's been going crazy. Johnny Blakey, actually, our defence coach, has been underrated, I think, with his wit on WhatsApp and Zoom. So he's a very underrated, funny man, I think.
Yeah. And you talked about the in terms of having the Zoom fitness group. How does it work? Do you kind of keep one eye on the computer and stay active yourself, or how does it work?
It's usually on a spin bike. So you set your computer or your phone up just in front of you, and someone calls out the session, and there's a bit of banter that goes on, but it's a bit awkward when there's no music, because you got to have to listen to people talk. So it's a bit different, but it's something different, and it's something exciting to keep you going through this period, because it can get stale when you're doing it by yourself.
Hey, Cal, Drew from Fox. Just on Hubs again. Talk today about potentially the whole season being played in Victoria, and this is just an idea, but that would be all well and good for if you play for a Victorian club, but pretty tough if you're coming from interstate like yourself.
Yeah, I think it would be. There's no reason why it couldn't be in New South Wales, from my perspective, or any other state. But it's, at the moment, it's just been floated as an idea, and we've got to be really open-minded in terms of what the AFL is doing, because I think they're doing a great job in exploring options to get us back playing. And I think that's what we all need at the moment. That's what the industry needs. And I think for a community and for a mental standpoint, we all miss watching sport. But to do that at the right time, and making sure everyone's safe, both physically and mentally, is going to be the right option. And when we do it and where we do it will be out of our hands and up to the AFL. But I think, as I said, they've done a great job in deciding what's right for the game at the moment.
Have you had much time to think about what it might be like to be in a hub? And are there any questions that you might have for the AFLPA or for the AFL when you have that hook up next week?
Yeah, it's difficult, because there's some people that have families. Bud's got a young family, and Josh Kennedy's got a family as well. So it's different for people like that. But me personally, being in a hub with 30 of your best mates sounds a bit of fun, and we're playing footy. So I'm certainly not against it. And I think the AFL players are for the hubs. They're keen to get playing, and whatever it may take, I think we're very open-minded.
Callum, Adrian Warren again. Just in terms of, you obviously had the one game this season against Adelaide. How much encouragement did you draw from that in terms of what the season might look like for Sydney?
Yeah, it was a real confidence boost. We sort of made it a bit tougher than what we had to in the end, but it was a great win, and I think we're all keen to get back to playing footy. We all talked about how much fun it was to actually play footy again, and the fact that it was taken away is frustrating. But there's a lot of bigger issues out there at the moment. But we're keen to get back to chasing that winning feeling, because it was really infectious to the group, and we know what we sort of can achieve and the football we can play when we get back. So it's exciting to know that when we get the chance to play again, we can produce some pretty good stuff.
And the Rugby League are talking about starting on May 28. Does that make you guys a bit itchy, a bit toey? You kind of hoping you might be able to start either at a similar time or soon after?
Yeah, I think it's more just waiting for the government and medical advice, really. I think what the AFL has done in terms of waiting for the right time and seeking the right information is the best way to go about it. And when we do get the all clear from the medical experts and the government, will be an exciting time for all of us, because we get back to doing what we love.
Callum, realistically, how long do you think you sort of need as like a mini pre-season once the league sets a date to make sure that all the teams are fit and ready to go?
It's hard to say. It'd be nice to have a few weeks together, but even I think when we do get back to training, things will be pretty segregated. We won't be able to train completely as a whole group, I think, from the start. And it's baby steps, but at the moment, I'm just keen to get a date so we can get back started. I don't think the time frame really matters for us as a group. We're just really keen to get stuck back into games and keep the momentum, or the momentum that we had from round one, hopefully into round two.